Welcome in, race fans, to an encore presentation of the Donny Schatz interview on In the Dirt with Webb Dillard and Brian Gray.
All right, In the Dirt fans, I want to welcome to the program the five-time World of Outlaw Sprint Car champion, Donny Schatz. Donny, are you with us?
I'm with you.
Mr. Schatz, thank you for taking time out of your Monday to join us here on In the Dirt. My co-host name is Brian Gray.
Hey, Donny, how's it going?
Good, Brian. You?
Pretty good. We was just talking with Chase Dillard. He's going to be making his debut at Charlotte Motor Speedway here in a couple weeks. You ever had a chance to get out around that place?
Just to watch on the pavement side, but definitely spent a lot of time making laps on the dirt track at Charlotte.
Don, you guys are, like I said in the intro, five-time sprint car champion. We're late model heavy here on In the Dirt, but we cover all aspects of it. You guys are in a unique situation with what you do because you drive for an owner that is a racer. Talk to us about that experience, because it's got to be unlike any other when your car owner is Tony Stewart.
It is. Tony's a great boss, great friend, and probably greatest of all, a great racer. And, his passions for all types of motorsports run deep, and allows us to be connected and affiliated with a lot of great people along the way. And, that's how I've become affiliated with being able to race a late model from being around Mark Richards and Darrell Lanigan and that. So it's, it's neat to be around, and definitely, he's made it work for us to the best.
Now, we all know Tony was a huge sprint car guy before. I mean, that's where he cut his teeth was sprint car racing, and getting the opportunity to drive for Tony, and him being in that realm beforehand, it has to make things a lot easier when you're trying to get him to understand the equipment and things that you need.
Oh, definitely. He's got great people that work for him too that take care of all those things, and he's definitely not one that just says, here, this is what you got and you deal with. He believes in what we want, and that's how it came about when I come to his organization. They wanted me to run the cars and the engines and the components that I felt comfortable with, and it was exactly what I had with my own team. So, that's what's propelled us to having several other championships together, and having a great relationship and a great combination of things. So, just glad to have all them pieces together.
And now back to you, Donny. I mean, you won a bunch of championships, but what is it about sprint cars? What brought you to that beast? I mean, why not something else? Why are you a sprint car guy?
More because that's what my father raced. I never did get to see him race, but his love was sprint car racing, and that's kind of what he took me to. And when you go to a sprint car race and the modifieds are there or any other type of classes there, it's just it wasn't something that really excited me, them other classes of cars. So just as a young child, that's what all the hype was about, and got to be around it at that level. So it just kind of grew on me, and I think it's more just from being your family's into it, and they enjoy the sprint car racing too. So it's something you all enjoy together. It definitely was a perfect fit for me.
A couple years ago, you guys sat in a late model at the Prelude. Obviously, it's a lot bigger animal than what the wing sprint is. Talk to us about that experience. And I seen some pictures of you in another one here recently, but talk to us about the outdoor experience in the late model.
Well, it's to go to a race like that and have never driven one. It's definitely, you better be on your toes, and that's why they bring all the great racers that are there, NASCAR guys, and myself and Steve got the opportunity, and IndyCar guys, drag racers. It's more of an entertaining event for the fans than anything, and I got to have a great time, and it was a lot different. And hopping in a car of a driver that's the World of Outlaw champion multiple times over was definitely a lot of pressure on me, because you got a guy standing there betting money on you and telling you need to run it in harder and all these things. It's definitely it was an eye-opener. And I by the end of the night, the last couple laps I made, I was just sick to my stomach that I didn't make all the laps that night the same way I did the last two. So you know, it kind of took me all night to catch on, but I had a great time, and since then I've got a car from Darrell and been racing it. I've raced it probably a half a dozen times around home, so enjoying the heck out of it.
Now, were you aware that everybody at that show at the Prelude was picking you to win?
I didn't realize that. No, I know there was some inside betting going on there from a few people, a few guys betting against me, and I was just more happy that I was able to actually help out the guys that were betting against me, because you know, it's never fun to be a loser, and definitely wanted to be on the winning side of it. But you know, them you know, like Kyle Busch won it. He done a great job. I couldn't see him at the end, and it just took me the whole race to get going. But yeah, I had a great time, and kind of saddened to not see that event this year, but I'm sure you'll see it again someday.
River City Speedway. I got the pleasure of going to it last year for the first time, covering the World of Outlaw late model event for Dirt on Dirt. I'm going in a couple weeks. For people at home, of course, listening to me talk about it doesn't know justice, but you've got several laps around that place. What makes that place so special?
Well, every time you go there, it's a very racy track. You know, I don't know if you can find a place that is any more racy, but you know, from a safety side of things and all that, it's kind of the all around the best place you can really go, because even in a sprint car, yeah, we're going fast, but we're not going Knoxville and Eldora and 150 mile an hour fast. You're going 100 mile an hour fast. So if something happens, you know, you're not going to where it's unsafe. It's you know, it's got a top that's very hard to run, and it's got a bottom that's tricky, and it just seems like you know, the tighter the track and in some of them conditions, it makes the racing a lot better. And when the racers on the track have more fun racing, I think it correlates into what the fans enjoy. You know, it's to their level of enjoyment too. So it's just all around a great place, a great atmosphere, and you know, there's a lot of, not too far from home, and that definitely helps anything. So you know, we had a great event there, and man, I sure hope the World of Outlaw late models do. I'd really love to see the late models get around there. So I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it unless there's a rain out. But I guess if I'm praying for rain, it's gonna be that day.
Me too. Me too. Oh God, me too. The cool thing about that racetrack is I came in through the pits, and you can exit the pits to the grandstands, and turn one is just this beautiful hip of dirt, and I think you have to walk by it to appreciate it. That track is also kind of a throwback track. I'm from Indianapolis, so it's almost got that Midwestern. The grandstands also double as the building. It's an old horse track, is it not?
I'm not sure if it's a horse track, but you know, the grandstand is unique, where the concessions and stuff are underneath. And heck, I remember 20 years ago when we first went there, I thought it was just a hole in the wall, and man, they've done a lot of things to improve it and make things better. So it's come a long ways.
So a lot of people have this question: do you prefer it wet, tacky, and fast, or dry and slick?
I prefer things dry and slick. It's you know, it takes more finesse. You know, there's a lot of young kids nowadays that's all they want to see is wet, because they can just sling things around and you don't have to have any finesse. And you know, it's all about the horsepower, and the car don't have to be so, you know, tight. But when you know, the older you get, you realize that sometimes you want to be able to beat people on finesse and experience, and you don't get that. It just seems like you can learn how to race a lot better when the wheels spin easier. So, you know, that's something that I look forward to, and whether it's a sprint car or the late model, it's what I'd prefer to race on. But it's probably a little bit safer, you know, when the tracks slow down and you know, there's more room for racing. It seems like guys have the ability to come through the field more. So. And it just makes for a better event. And like I said earlier, if the racers seem to have more fun, then you know, it seems like the fans also do.
Right, and we've been talking about, you know, really fast racetracks lately, and you know, it's no stranger that we've had some bad occurrences in the sprint car racing arena in the last couple of weeks. You know, everybody has read the New York Times article. I know that went viral to probably every racer in the country. But do you ever think more about the safety of the car on some of the faster tracks, where maybe you might want to be a little more lenient on some of the tracks that are a little slower to save a little weight? I mean, what's your take on preparing the car? Not only, let's not talk about preparing it to go to the racetrack and win, but preparing it to go to the racetrack and you return again.
Yeah. That's something that really people don't think too much about until it takes something like the Jason Leffler incident before. It kind of opens everyone's eyes. And, I've said for the last 2 years that what's happened with the frames that we race with this is everybody's made them lighter and lighter and lighter. And when they do make them lighter, the cars work better because there's more flex, there's more give and this and that. And you don't have to be so close on your shocks and your torsion bars and your weight and all these things. The more movement that's going around, it just makes the car so easy to get set up. But when you take something that only weighs 160 or 170 pounds bare frame and someone knocks 40 pounds off that, I mean, where's the line on sanity as far as how much is too much? We don't want to read about somebody that, they made a car that was ultra light out of ultra thin tubing, and it worked better, but we, collapsed the cage or this come apart. And, that's kind of what's happened in the last several years is it's just kind of gotten out of control where guys they're even cutting tubing to make things slip and flex more. And, I've been one that back in the day I've done it myself, but somewhere along the line somebody has to stop all this and say, hey, this is how these are going to be built. It's going to be built out of this tubing, kind of like NASCAR did, when Dale Earnhardt got killed. There really was no mandates on anything, and then when Dale Earnhardt got killed, now they mandate everything. They tell them exactly how everything has to be built. So, it's something that's going to take some long time to get it rectified. But to me, that's one of the things that is probably the grayest area that we have as far as safety. I mean, all the components, the safety gear, everybody builds great stuff, but everybody's, like you said, performance is one thing, but it has to perform well and be safe, and that's something that everybody has to take a big, long look at so they don't get too far away from the safety side of it.
And I think the article that they wrote in the Times was a little bit misleading too, because they were talking about the racetracks. And I think it's not necessarily the racetracks, because ultimately, as racers, when we show up to a racetrack, you look at the place and you have to decide at that point: is this some place that I want to put myself at risk? Is my equipment prepared to protect me against anything that might happen here? So I mean, that's our choice to do that. It's also our choice to prep the cars in the way we want to go. But I think it was a little misleading because they were talking about the racetracks being unsafe. I don't think it's the racetracks that are necessarily unsafe. I think it's more like you were saying, people kind of are going back to the older ways of thinking. I want to go faster. Where can I save weight here? Where can I save weight there? And it's gotten to the point where if you look at, I looked at Leffler's car, and he had a containment seat in the car, but the headrest was not, I mean, there was no head support there. I mean, is it that difficult to get in and out of those cars in a full containment seat?
Well, different people like different things. I mean, I can't run a full containment seat. I never used to run a head and neck restraint, and now I do use a head and neck restraint, and it's something I've used all year long. I should have been using it in the past, but, that's, you take the same crash that he had at Grand Forks, North Dakota, and he's only going 100 miles an hour versus 150. There's a crash that probably wouldn't have taken his life, and I think that's where they were trying to relate to the racetracks. I mean, as well as I do, everybody is out to make things better. There's more speed, there's more horsepower, and you get on a big racetrack, the bigger they are, the faster you go, and that's just the nature of the beast. So, that's sort of that same crash he may have lived through at any other racetrack in the country, but where he was at, it just happened to be he was going fast enough where it was fatal. So, that's something. But when you're used to driving a stock car at 200 plus miles an hour, maybe 150 doesn't seem so fast, but it just depends what you're accustomed to and what you're feeling like going.
Well, upcoming for the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars, they got LaSalle Speedway, LaSalle, Illinois, Beaver Dam Raceway in Wisconsin, Cedar Lake Speedway, New Richmond, Wisconsin. Donny, before we let you get out here, first of all, I want to thank you very much for taking time out of your Monday evening. I know Monday's probably a rest day after being gone all weekend. Second, I want you to thank some of them sponsors on that sprint car of yours.
Yeah, gotta thank everybody at STP and Armor All Brand and Chevrolet. They've definitely stuck with us the whole time we've been at Tony Stewart Racing, and we've had some great success together, and hopefully we get several more championships and enjoy a lot more success.
Well, you guys are in contention for this year. I think you guys are running second at points. It looks like second at points here, so good luck with this weekend. Stay safe, and please rain out when it's time for River Cities. I want you to be there, brother. I just love that race.
Maybe I'll see you at Black Hill.
All right. Donny Schatz, he is the 5-time World Outlaw Sprint Car Champion. Donny, thank you, and we'll hopefully have you back on the show sometime.
Thank you.
You've just listened to an encore presentation of In the Dirt with Webb Dillard and Brian Gray. Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode at www.inthedirtradio.com. That's www.inthedirtradio.com.